Welcome, dear listeners, to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the labyrinth of time, unraveling the mysteries of our collective past. Today, we find ourselves at the threshold of a pivotal moment in history, one that would shake the foundations of empires and leave an indelible mark on the world stage, the Battle of Sevastopol, fought from 1854 to 1855. As we delve into this captivating tale, let us first set our gaze upon the horizon of the Crimean Peninsula, where the city of Sevastopol stands, nestled between the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov. This strategic location has long been a coveted prize for powers seeking to dominate the region's lucrative trade routes and secure access to the Mediterranean. The warm waters of the Black Sea lap against the shores of Sevastopol, as the gentle breeze carries the whispers of ancient traders and travelers who once traversed the Silk Road, connecting east and west. To understand the origins of this conflict, we must venture back in time to the early 19th century, when the Russian Empire, under the reign of Alexander I, began to expand its territories, seeking to establish itself as a dominant power in the region. The Ottoman Empire, which had long controlled the Black Sea, found itself facing increasing pressure from Russia's growing ambitions. The Treaty of Bucharest, signed on May 28, 1812, marked a significant turning point as it granted Russia control over Bessarabia, a region bordering the Black Sea. As the years passed, tensions between Russia and the Ottoman Empire continued to escalate, with both powers vying for influence in the region. The Russian Empire's desire to expand its territories and secure access to the Mediterranean led to a series of conflicts, including the Russo-Turkish War of 1828-1829. This war resulted in the Treaty of Adrianople, signed on September 14, 1829, which granted Russia significant concessions, including control over the Danubian principalities. However, it was not until the reign of Nicholas I that the Russian Empire's ambitions in the region became more pronounced. Nicholas I, determined to assert Russia's dominance, began to consolidate his power and expand his territories. The spark that would ignite the flames of war came on July 3, 1853, when Russian troops occupied the Danubian principalities, prompting the Ottoman Empire to declare war on Russia. As we pause at this threshold, the year is 1854, and the fate of Sevastopol hangs in the balance. The great powers of Europe are beginning to take notice of the escalating conflict, with Britain and France forming an alliance with the Ottoman Empire to counter Russian aggression. The introduction of modern technologies and tactics will forever change the face of warfare as we embark on this journey through the tumultuous landscape of 19th century Europe, where empires rise and fall and the course of history is forever altered. The year is 1854, and the war has reached its crescendo. The introduction of modern technologies and tactics has forever changed the face of warfare, as we witness the clash of empires on the battlefields of the Crimean Peninsula. The city of Sevastopol, with its strategic harbor and fortified defenses, has become the focal point of the conflict, as both sides engage in a fierce struggle for control. As the coalition forces, led by British General Lord Raglan and French General François Canrobert, begin their siege of Sevastopol, they are met with fierce resistance from the Russian defenders, who are determined to hold on to the city at all costs. The Russians, under the command of Admiral Pavel Nakhimov, have heavily fortified the city's defenses, including the construction of a series of trenches and redoubts that stretch across the peninsula. One of the most pivotal moments in the battle comes on October 17, 1854, when the coalition forces launch a massive bombardment of the Russian defenses, hoping to breach the walls of Sevastopol. The British and French artillery unleash a torrent of shells and cannonballs upon the city, causing widespread destruction and chaos among the Russian ranks. However, despite their superior firepower, the coalition forces are unable to break through the Russian lines, and the siege becomes a protracted and bloody affair. As the winter months set in, the conditions on the battlefield become increasingly dire, with both sides suffering heavy casualties and struggling to maintain supply lines. The introduction of modern technologies, such as the telegraph and the railway, has enabled the coalition forces to maintain a steady flow of troops and supplies, but the Russians have also adapted, using their knowledge of the terrain to launch guerrilla attacks and disrupt the enemy's lines. The Battle of Balaclava, fought on October 25, 1854, is another significant turning point in the conflict as the coalition forces suffer a series of setbacks at the hands of the Russian cavalry. The infamous Charge of the Light Brigade, led by British General James Brudenell, 7th Earl of Cardigan, becomes a symbol of the bravery and folly of war as the British cavalry charges headlong into the face of withering Russian fire. The conflict has indeed brought about significant changes in the region, as the old empires begin to crumble and new powers rise to take their place. The Battle of Sevastopol has marked a significant turning point in the history of warfare, as the introduction of new technologies and tactics has forever changed the face of conflict. The year is 1855, and the war has reached its end. The Treaty of Paris, signed on March 30, 1856, brings an official end to the conflict, with Russia agreeing to withdraw from the Crimean Peninsula and recognize the neutrality of the Black Sea. The treaty also establishes the principle of the integrity of the Ottoman Empire, which will have far-reaching consequences for the balance of power in Europe. The introduction of modern technologies and tactics has forever changed the face of warfare, with the widespread use of rifles, artillery, and trenches becoming the norm. The war has also seen the emergence of new nations and empires as the old powers begin to crumble. One of the most significant consequences of the Crimean War is the decline of the Russian Empire. The war has exposed the weaknesses of the Russian military, and the country is forced to embark on a series of modernizing reforms under the leadership of Tsar Alexander II. The emancipation of the serfs in 1861 is a major milestone in this process, as Russia begins to transform itself into a more modern and industrialized nation. The war has also had a profound impact on the development of nursing and medicine. Florence Nightingale, the famous British nurse, has played a crucial role in improving sanitation and care for wounded soldiers during the conflict. Her work has laid the foundations for the modern profession of nursing, and her legacy will continue to inspire generations of medical professionals. The Crimean War has indeed brought about significant changes in the world, as empires rise and fall and new nations begin to take shape. In the decades that follow, the legacy of the Crimean War will continue to be felt. The war has marked a significant turning point in the history of warfare, as the introduction of new technologies and tactics has forever changed the face of conflict. The war has also had a profound impact on the development of modern nation-states, as countries begin to assert their independence and sovereignty. The conflict has been a defining moment in the history of Europe, and its legacy will continue to shape the world for generations to come. That's all for today's history with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.